Vanishing Realms is an early access action RPG. It's available for the HTC Vive for about $20 US. Here's my review of it in its current state as of July 2017. Starting with the story. The story is told through readable tomes throughout the game and the odd smattering of voice work. All in all, it's pretty ignorable, and there really isn't enough of it to leave a strong impression. So what about the gameplay? The game takes you on an adventure through an impressive range of environments, teeming with puzzles, combat encounters, treasure, and no small amount of hidden secrets to uncover. This is a game that generously rewards exploration. One thing I love about this title is that it doesn't hold your hand. It instead trusts you to be able to figure things out yourself without the need for a waypoint or a detailed list of objectives. And while some titles can take this too far, to the point where you're hitting the forums every 5 minutes to figure out just what the hell you meant to do next, in Vanishing Realms I very rarely found myself stuck for long. The game took me a little over 3 hours to complete on hard mode, and I've personally found it to have a decent level of replayability. On to weapons. At different stages in the game you'll encounter weapon pedestals, where you can trade your hard-earned gold for cold hard steel. Gold is acquired by collecting treasure, which you can find hidden throughout the world and can also be collected from downed enemies. Gold is not by any measure a plentiful commodity, and if you're not one to explore every crevice of the game, you will miss out. The game sports a fairly good selection of weapons, including swords, a shield, bows, a magic wand, a two-handed axe, and a hammer. The bow is sluggish, likely by design, but I personally found it somewhat cumbersome and annoying. There is also a forced delay before you can fire another arrow, which I think is a real shame. Firing volleys of arrows in quick succession is something I really enjoy in, well, every other VR game with a bow and arrow. The swordplay in this game is by far the most tactical I've experienced in any VR title. It forces a sort of dance between strike and parry. It's a real test of coordination and speed. I tried multiple ways to cheat it, and each one resulted in embarrassing defeat. The magic wand is alright. It effectively functions like an underpowered grenade. To be honest, I didn't find using it all that fun or effective, so I largely ignored it. The two-handed axe functions pretty well, though because I found it much more cumbersome and less effective than the sword and shield, I wasn't all that inclined to use it. The hammer functions similar to the sword, but with a significantly smaller range, so I stopped using that pretty quickly too. Now for inventory. Inventory is managed by a sort of belt interface that also contains gold, health and mana indicators. It works pretty damn well, and while a holster system would have been better for changing weapons mid-combat, I think they've drawn a good balance between usability and versatility. Let's talk enemy. You've got your sword and shield wielding grunts, harder sword and shield wielding grunts, crossbowers, big giant skeleton with a massive ball and chain, fire mages, healing mages, and the king. That's pretty much it. Hitboxes on the enemy are pretty spot on. Hitboxes on the terrain, however, are a very different story. The enemy AI is overall pretty good, although there are moments where it leaves itself wide open to exploitation. The game takes a quality over quantity approach to enemies. This is a title where every single enemy can pose a real threat, as opposed to titles where it takes half a dozen at once to be anything more than an inconvenience. That brings us to health. As mentioned, health is displayed at your belt. It is non-regenerative, but can be replenished by either drinking health potions or eating food. You can also increase your total amount of health by finding special gems. Death in this game will see you respawn back roughly in the same area you died in. Any progress you made will remain, though while dead enemies will stay dead, any living enemies will go back to full health. That leads us on to difficulty. The game offers two modes, normal and hard. Normal mode offers a fairly easy playthrough with a relatively low risk of failure. Hard mode on the other hand offers stronger, healthier, faster and smarter enemies, making for a decent level of challenge and a satisfying learning curve. Locomotion is purely teleportation. As always, the option for smooth motion would be nice. On to sound. Vanishing Realms does sound brilliantly, particularly when paired with the game's clever use of haptics. Enemy vocalizations are also done very well. The graphics are pretty good, not mind-boggling or breathtaking by any measure, but the art style remains consistent and the game offers a good variety of interesting environments. No performance issues on my 1070, and the load times are very brief. Time for the verdict. Despite being released well over a year ago, Vanishing Realms still offers one of the most polished and varied gameplay experiences in any action-adventure VR title. If you're a fan of this genre, I highly recommend you pick this one up.